Leo, good to have you on the show.
Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
Now, Leo, I'm going to start by asking you this. I mean, you're a public figure. You know what it's like to be called a celebrity. Do you think celebrities must be role models, or should they just live their lives?
So the thing is, without you even trying, you would influence certain people. You would become a role model by the time you attain fame. And before we even go into the topic, there's a difference between having influence and trending. You know, for someone who went into the house, like when I was in Big Brother 7 years ago, when I came out of the house, I was hot topic, I was trending. But influence is something that I've been able to build over time. So if you have influence over time, definitely you should be a better role model to people. If you're trending, I can kind of excuse you and be like, okay, this person doesn't really understand the power that you have. This is something that is new to them. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's very easy for you to like make some mistakes, but you should definitely learn along the way because you're earning money from your audience. So you should definitely have a sense of responsibility to them.
This makes sense to me. Okay. Now you found a way to differentiate between, being trendy or in the news and being a celebrity, based on influence. Now I want to bring out some examples if you let me do it. I mean, the widely publicized split between, we're sad about this one, P Square, and some people talked about how this doesn't show good example to how family can move on, can forgive, can heal. Just last week, Asake's alleged lack of support for his father. This as well sparked conversation among the new generation or the next generation. Do you think these things kind of shed negative light? I mean, whether you say they have influence or it's just trendy conversation or controversy, what do you think? Does this play a part?
Yeah, it can play a part because the thing is, one problem that we have as Nigerians is our educational system is kind of like taking vomit. Not really, they don't challenge you in school to think for yourself. So that is one thing that happens. Like I'm on Twitter a lot. I've been on Twitter since 2010. Immediately someone that is influential on Twitter says something, I always see that a lot of times their followers just join in. Whether the person is saying the right thing or not, you get. You definitely have those impacts. With the family thing, I saw it online and I saw a lot of people saying he's right, he's right, he's right. Then at the end of the day, it turned out that his dad actually took care of him. And now everyone is saying he's right, don't know how to backtrack anymore. And that is the problem that we're facing. I've been in a similar situation like that where, I've been abandoned by a parent, but I know 100% if the parents were still here, I would still do right by the parents. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
But that is my belief, and my belief stems from being a Christian. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It stems from being a Christian. There is no way God will bless you, and with what I do for strangers, that I will abandon my family. If that makes sense.
I like how you put it that way. It makes sense that they've reconciled, and he's willing to help, which is in some way a positive thing that people can learn from, I guess. How do we separate between who the younger generation like myself, can look up to and who we shouldn't? Like you, of course, brought your faith into this. What of those who maybe don't share the same faith? How do we meet in the middle and say, okay, this is worth, following this person, making them a mentor, making them, have such power as influences?
Yeah. So I always tell, like when I do mentorship, I always tell young people that you should not model your life around somebody else's life. You should not emulate or totally idolize a pastor, for example. You should not totally idolize a celebrity because at the end of the day, these people are real people. They make real mistakes. So what you should idolize is what you see that you can learn from. So if there's a politician that has done something for his community, I would admire what the person has done. But I'm not going to idolize the person to a certain extent whereby they're accusing the person of corruption and I'll be like defending the person. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But can still admire that this person has sent 500 people to school. And that's one thing we've not been able to separate when it comes to mentorship in Nigeria. You can have someone that is a good mentor because of how they've lived, because of businesses they've done, and still not want to emulate their personal life or defend it. They can be wrong. you don't need to blindly worship anybody. You get.
Yeah.
So that's just what I always advise like young people. When you're choosing a mentor, when you're choosing the celebrities that you want to actually emulate, you need to be very careful in emulating everything. You need to choose the best parts, and those are the things that make you better,
That makes
not
sense.
their worst parts.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, I do feel like, while we might not be able to gauge influence, people will take what they want to take, whether you tell them to or not. But responsibility is a different conversation. Now, should
Yes.
celebrities be responsible for their fans? I want to give an instance. I mean, 2019, I think Malians, a group of Malians, they scaled the fence into Echo Hotel. I think it was during the Naira Marley concert, and everyone was
Yeah.
outraged. It was on the news. Should Naira, in that case, be now being responsible? Should celebrities be responsible for what the things that their fans do, based on, of course, their own personality? What do you think?
Yes. So if people, like I run one of the biggest football communities, for example, if anyone, like we've had an instance where someone was harassing ladies, of course I had to step in and report it to the police. I had to send evidence. So you should definitely take responsibility for the things that affect your community. If you're passing out a message and you know this message is something that can be harmful, because I remember going to speak in a school, I think an IDP camp, and this little kid, probably like 8 years old, this was years ago, and this little kid was like, I'm a Malian, that's why I don't wear belts. And these are the things that, yeah, these are the things that you need to like sensitize, even if your music is just trying to explain that, okay, you can be a rebel, but a good rebel. You don't need to disturb the peace or cause harm to others. This is just what we're passing. You need to be very, very responsible for how your audience takes your message. Is very, very important.
Yeah. I mean, now that you mentioned belt, forgive me, I do like fashion. So my mind goes to the fashion side of things, because celebrities, the influence they have, some of the outfits. I remember recently, Megan Thee Stallion was in the news. The outfit was pretty revealing, and there was conversation around how maybe would that be a thing? Would Africans accept that when young people start to dress a little risque? Would that be a problem? And is that unavoidable, honestly?
So even when we were growing up, we got a lot of influence from the media. We look at instances where young guys like me were wearing baggy white t-shirts, baggy jeans. These are things that have always happened. But as you get older, I was a teenager then. As you get older, you get to understand that there are certain ways you need to dress if you want to be addressed. If you want to become like the president of a country, if that's your vision, then definitely you should not dress like a certain celebrity. But if your vision is going towards this side, then you can definitely emulate that. You get, but you need to know the right places to do it.
Yeah.
I don't like to, this is what you must wear and that's what you must wear. But I always say you need to look at your journey. Right from when I was growing up, I always looked at where I wanted to be. Even up until Big Brother, I knew that, okay, what do I want to do in the next 10 years? It's not just about me trending right now. How do I want to carve out my influence in the next 10 years and become a mainstay? These are the things I need to do. These are the things I need to avoid.
Yeah.
I need to not post shirtless pictures anymore. I don't need to do that because I'm not entering the movie scene. So you need to know what works for you and what you want to do with yourself.
Yeah.
Basically, become a swimsuit model. Of course, you wearing pants and bra, you can be shirtless if that's what you want your long term to be. But if you want to be like me, for example, you would not want that.
Yeah.
So
It makes sense. It almost, gives us, we should take responsibility for ourselves and what we take, and plan. I want to talk about the political side of it. When, of course, there are socioeconomic issues, there's this or that, that affects the economy. Should celebrities, should musicians, actors, should they raise voices and talk about these issues? Is that necessary? Because sometimes some things have happened in the past. I don't want to name names, but they don't get involved. They don't talk about this. And should that be necessary once you have an influence?
So for me, I personally no longer use my platform to talk about political issues. What I do, I'm now on ground trying to make my own difference through the lives that I support. And the reason I did this is because like everybody, no matter what, yeah, as a celebrity, no matter what you do, if people are against whatever you say, they're never going to see the context of what you're doing. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
So let me give you an example. People came at me that I went to speak at a Tinubu event before he became president, and nobody looked at the context that okay, everywhere this guy I get invited to speak a whole lot everywhere, and my message has always been the same. So there is no way I'm going to go speak at this event and my message will be different. Nobody wanted to see context to that. You know, some blogs were maybe sponsored to attack me, and that was just it. You know, they tried to ruin my brand, but obviously I'm not a trending person. I am someone that actually has real influence. So that did not affect any single thing that I was doing. You know, everything blew over because, you know, when something stops being a trending topic, it just dies off. And I knew it was going to happen because there was no substance to it. You can't say that I collect money for this and that. Meanwhile, I've no politician, nobody has ever come out to say Leo collected money from me for speaking. You know, I've gone to speak in different countries and nobody has ever said I collected a dime from them. You know, so those kind of things, for example, I would say with someone like me, I know that I don't even want to get involved in the political noise. So I don't even like to comment on it. In fact, I stay very far away from it. You know, in fact, like there's certain things that I've stopped saying online because I'm now married, number one. And there's certain things topics I've stopped talking about because no way I'm going to put it that Nigerians are going to understand it.